Do you know why Shador Sanders was not drafted high and why he slid in the draft? I'll tell you why. Because the juice is not worth the squeeze. Okay, folks, that's how they're looking at it. The juice is not going to be worth the squeeze. Shador Sanders is not as good as he thinks he is. And the GMs and the teams were looking at a risk reward situation. They're like, hey, this guy wasn't a can't miss prospect, the far and away number one. Teams just had to have him. And then there's certain positions where it doesn't matter the character and flashy, be the way you want. Defensive end, wide receiver, you can do that. Doesn't matter so much. But we have yet to see a quarterback that I would say maybe, I take that back. Perhaps Cam Newton in a way. He liked to be real flashy with his outfits. But even then, he was kind of toned down in a way compared to what Sheduer Sanders and legendary. That whole legendary meme is what it is now. The branding of legendary is so ridiculous, unauthentic, uncreative. Of all the things, legendary is how you brand yourself after a long career of excellence. You can't call yourself legendary before. You got to come up with something cooler and more clever. That was a huge epic fail. And he should have gone undrafted for that alone. And I guarantee you, there were some teams after all that. He showed up to the New York Giants, who he thought who he knew was probably gonna draft a quarterback, which they did. They moved up to draft a quarterback, but not him. And you know why they didn't draft him? Because according to the head coach, Sheduer shows up to the meeting unprepared. He bombed the interview. And so I don't get how people get upset. Have you ever had a job interview and then you bombed it? It didn't go well, and then like all of a sudden you still get the job, or you think you're not surprised if you didn't? That's what happened to Sheduer. He failed the job interview. His resume isn't as good as he thinks it is, and the juice isn't worth the squeeze. You heard it here. The squeeze is too much for the juice. Alright, whatever they think that sweet juice is gonna be, it's not enough for the squeeze. That squeeze is gonna be there. Sheduer is also being affected by the Dion tax. Alright, there's a tax for Dion. The money comes in, but there's also taxes, and that tax is affecting Sheduer because, if you're a GM, you draft Sheduer, you play him, things aren't going well, the play call, I guarantee you, you're going to have Dion in your DMs talking about the play calling, talking about anything and everything if things aren't just going terrific and super good. The moment they're not going fabulous, you're going to have to deal with the squeeze. And the GMs, the NFL said, you know what? The juice isn't going to be good enough for this squeeze. So ultimately, Cleveland got a steal because they were thinking Cleveland was going to pick him in the first round. They ended up picking him up in the fifth, which is, if you're a Sheduer fan and think he's great, it was the steal of the draft. So let me know what you think, folks. At home, like, share, subscribe. Jamin's Daily, comment. Do you think it was failing the job interview? Sheduer just not being the top prospect he thought he was? Do you think there's some collusion, some nefarious things going on. You know, people throwing around all kinds of accusations that I don't agree. I'm telling you what I think. He's just not as good. He's not good enough to do what he did. That's the problem. And the blowback was harsh. He learned a lesson. He's going to have to prove him wrong now. And that's exciting. We'll see what happens. Until the next time, stay tuned. Jamin's Daily. Like, share, subscribe, comment. The best is yet to come.